I'm Lance,
I'm Chris.
and this is the Nostalgia Nuts podcast. Welcome back, guys. Um, just want to thank you guys for listening to us all this time. We've been doing pretty well. We've been getting some new listeners, which is always a good thing.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you, thank you.
yeah, our Angels in the Outfield episode has gotten good reception, so thank you guys for listening to that and giving us your feedback. And thank you to my brother Billy for uh, helping us with that episode. We'll definitely have him on again, which will be nice. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Yeah. Up next, Chris, what are we doing?
we're going to be talking about the first episode of a Nickelodeon classic, Silly Shorts.
Yes, we are. We are going to be doing Michael Comes to Camp, or it's also known as First Day. Now, Chris, did you watch a lot of Silver Shorts when you were growing up?
Yeah,
Yeah, me too. I just always remember it because of, of course, the characters I always remember was just mainly Budnick, Donkey Lips,
yeah,
and then Ugg.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, did you ever go to a summer camp before?
No,
No.
no, I never been to summer camp.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, it's always been fun. I went
Just
to.
count Boy Scouts camping.
Oh yeah, that's right. You've done that. Yeah, of course. I forgot you did that. Um, but yeah, my camp experience has been like, I would go to camp, the camp that the boys club had, and then I would go to a sleepover camp
Ever, right?
residential camp every couple of summers. And I worked 2 summers there up in South County of Massachusetts. And that was always fun. That's how I learned that I liked kayaking and other things, which it's always been nice. One thing I thought was always weird though was, of course, back in the day, I was allowed to do this. They actually had classes for people to shoot rifles, which I don't
I
think,
shot rifles at scout camp.
yeah, I don't think that would be allowed nowadays. But
Not today.
yeah, you had a class where you could shoot rifles or BBs, and it's like, yeah, I'm surprised no one.
With live bullets, no less.
Yeah, it's rough. Like the BBs is one thing, but 22, like
These are 22 caliber
that's
live
that's
bullets.
scary. Uh, But yeah, that's always been my experience of going to camp. Also, interesting story. The last year that I was a camper at the camp that I went to, Lady Gaga was also a camper there, which was always interesting. I wasn't like friends with her or anything like that. I just remember the name, and it was funny because I remember somebody that I was, that I'm friends with that I went to the camp with, one day was like, "Hey, do you remember this person?" I'm like, "I remember the name." And they're like, "You know who that is, right?" And I'm like, "No, do you want to tell me?" And then they let me know, and I thought they were like full of themselves.
Didn't you meet a famous person at camp?
Yeah. But it was funny because like I had to look it up and I'm like, "Oh wow, crazy how that works out." But yeah, I always thought that was pretty cool.
I just
So
remember the story you telling me about that famous person you
yeah,
met at camp.
yeah, it was just interesting. I'm like, because he's like, you don't know that stuff, back then, but then later it's like, oh,
But it's a really cool story.
yeah, that is pretty cool. Um, yeah, I know other people would probably say, "Oh, we were best friends," when they weren't really. And I'm not that one kind of person that tries to attach myself to somebody like that. It's not like I'm like, yeah, we were best
Oh
friends
yeah,
and all
we were
this stuff. We didn't
besties.
do that stuff. Um, so yeah, before we start talking more about Salute Your Shorts, we're gonna do the featured food. And Chris, what did you have picked for featured food?
This was a favorite school lunch of mine, Italian Dunkers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for those of you that don't know Italian Dunkers, it was pretty much just cheese sticks and sauce.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
breadsticks with cheese on top and marinara sauce.
yeah, that was always a favorite. I remember it wasn't always like a school lunch. And then it came around like at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah, there were a couple other ones that I always liked for school lunches. Like, of course, everyone talks about the roast turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy and
yeah,
dinosaur pasta. That was always a fave.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's interesting how it's funny that you mentioned the Italian dunkers because I had bread cheese for lunch today. For those of you that don't know what bread cheese is, it's primarily a Wisconsin thing. And what it is that it's like a block of cheese. You can cut it up and you can grill it. You can air fry it, you can microwave it. I prefer to air, actually, I've never grilled mine, but I've air fried mine, and it's cool because it's got it's cheese that doesn't like necessarily melt.
That sounds
Like
pretty
it
good.
still takes its substance. You can get it at like any grocery store. It's just called bread cheese. And it's got a crunchy like exterior when you air fry it or grill it, and then it's still got the chewy in the middle. And I usually have that with marinara. Sometimes I'll have it with pesto. And I guess a thing that people in like Wisconsin and other places do, they eat it with maple syrup, which I tried once and I thought was all right, but I don't think I would do it multiple times. Maybe the people in Vermont do that
It
shit.
does sound pretty good.
Yeah, I always thought that was pretty cool. All right, so let's first talk about Salute Your Shorts in general. Salute Your Shorts was a live action sitcom that was on Nickelodeon for 2 seasons, from the 4th of July 1991 to September 12th of 1992. It follows a group of kids who are at the fictional Camp Anawana, which was a play on the exclamation, I don't want to, because, I guess back in the day, some kids just didn't want to go to summer camp. Um, they wanted to be home, hang out with their friends. The It's actually based on a book by the creator Steve Slavkin called Salute Your Shorts Life at Summer Camp. Um, but yeah, it was a very well-known live-action show that was on Nickelodeon, and it was actually produced by Propaganda Films, which was made by a group of people primarily who are in music videos. Like, you had these different music video directors like Nigel Dick, Dominic Senna, Greg Gold, and David Fincher before he became a film director. And there were other people, like there were producers, Steve Cohen, uh, I think Sigurjan Savatsan. I hope I did not butcher that. Um, but yeah, that was um, that was what Salute Your Shorts was about. Chris, did you have a favorite character on Salute Your Shorts?
The the rich girl,
The rich girl? Oh, that
whatever her
would
name was.
be oh wow, that would be Dina. Yeah, I remember Dina. Yeah. For me, I was always it's so weird because I'm sure she's probably like nowadays, like if you take a look at all the characters from the show and see them now, I could just imagine like what they would be doing now. I was a fan of Zizi. She was definitely like kind of I mean she was like kind of more quiet. Telly was also a close second in terms of the girls. Um but for the guys, of course, I always liked Budnick because
I
it's
can't
Budnick.
stand that kid.
And then, of course, you got
What about Sponge?
Sponge. I don't know. I mean, Sponge was the nerd and everything. I like that episode. There's that episode where Sponge like has like all the trivia questions and everything. That was a good one. Um, but yeah, there were a couple of characters also. Like I don't know, the one that always made me laugh, of course, was Ugg. Like I mean, it's just always
Yeah,
yeah. I always liked him. But yeah, we'll definitely be talking more about Salute Your Shorts as the show goes on, like in the future. We'll definitely be doing different things. I definitely told Chris that around the fall Halloween time, we're definitely doing an episode on the Zeke the Plumber episode. And
yeah.
Chris doesn't really remember it, but I'll have him watch it. But yeah, I liked Budnick. But yeah, there were other characters that I always liked. Of course, Donkey Lips was always, you know,
Yeah.
cool and funny. I've seen him on other things since then, but it was just always so weird that, like, as a child actor, I didn't see him in too much stuff. But I am glad that, I mean, of course, I had you watch The Orange Years, and they
Yeah.
had, oh, excuse me, plenty of, um, plenty of interviews with the cast
Yeah.
of the show, and then also in the book Slimed by Matthew Klickstein,
Yeah.
they have a lot of interviews with the actors from that show as well. But yeah, I always liked Sleeper Shorts. It was always a good show to watch during the summertime. There was always like,
And one of my favorites.
yeah, it was definitely, I don't know, for me, like live action shows around that time were like a little different. Like, I mean, you had this, you had Welcome Freshmen, you had the game shows, and then like later on you would have other live action shows like, you got All That, Amanda Show. Um, of course, Pete and Pete was around the same time too,
B&B,
and
yep.
that was great. We'll definitely be talking about Pete and Pete. Um, so that's always been pretty nice. So let's get into Michael Comes to Camp or First Day. And there's a dog.
Outside.
It's probably Isabel, right?
That's not my dog.
Oh, it isn't? That's fine. Okay, so here is the synopsis for Michael Comes to Camp. So Michael is arriving to Camp Anawana and is the first person. It is his first day at camp, obviously, and of course they introduce the episode in a funny way with the girls having up the banner
Yep,
welcoming at everybody, and of course in true comedic summer camp fashion, the bus drives right
yep.
through it. Um, Michael first meets Bobby Budnick and Donkey Lips. I never call Donkey Lips by his like real name, but everyone, always called
Yeah. Always call him
Budnick
Donkey Lip.
Bobby Budnick because it's like it's great alliteration. Um, but of course, yeah, it's just always easy to remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eddie Gelfand was his name. Um, but yeah, um, Michael gets tripped over Donkey Lips. They go through his bag, and of course, they hoist a pair of his shorts. Um, it's funny because around this time, I didn't even know that people wore boxer shorts as like underwear. I only thought of briefs as a kid.
Yeah, I always wore briefs.
Yeah, and then just like as like I think in middle school, I think like once you hit puberty,
Yeah.
you kind of change.
I just,
It's just
yeah,
like,
it's boxers.
yeah, it's a little bit more comfortable for me that way. And it's just like, I don't know, I just feel like
It's regular boxers, not boxer briefs.
well, I mean, nowadays I primarily wear boxer briefs, but it's just like I know that like it was weird because I remember like what was it, sixth grade? I'd be changing in the locker room and gym, and like there was some kid that we went to school with who was like a real dick that would comment about the fact that I was wearing like briefs, and I'm like, I didn't know there was anything else. It's not like I'm looking at other people in the locker room to know that there are other things other than
Yeah.
you. Um, but of course, they run his boxer shorts up the flagpole. Um, and so Michael also meets Sponge, who is the nerd of their cabin. And they, I love
The
when,
typical nerd with the glasses, the bowl tie.
yeah, very nerdy. Um, do you remember the part where they're showing him around the cabin and the bed and just like the stain?
Yep.
And they talked about like the raccoon like laying there and
Yeah.
he's, is this where it died? And then like Sponge is like, no, it's where he suffered. I'm like, Jesus. It's very dark, but also just very funny. I've
But that was
also,
the type of shows they had.
mhm. And I know that Budnick showed, of course, he showed the nudie magazine to Michael. And what he said something about like, uh, for a certain amount of money, you can look at it, and for an extra amount of money, I'll let you turn the pages or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the kids meet the head counselor, Kevin Lee, who everyone calls Ugg because
Lee.
Ugg
Yep.
Lee, Ugg Lee.
I remember that.
hmm But they have a baseball game. Michael ends up getting into a fight with Budnick, and it gets him a little bit more respect. Um, And that gets Budnick and Donkey Lips to think of forcing Michael and Sponge into a secret society.
Yep.
And where they ended up having to do some really messed up stuff. Now, Chris, did you know, without naming names, did you know people growing up that like kind of targeted you or were like just real like dicks, kind of like Budnick
Yeah,
and okay.
I
Do
don't
you?
want to name them,
No, don't name.
but there was this kid in middle school,
Mm-hmm.
seventh grade
Mm-hmm.
mostly. He liked to punch me every single day.
Oh wow.
And the worst part is my girlfriend cheated on me with him.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
I'll tell you who it is
Oh yeah,
after we go off the air.
yeah, yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
But I'll tell you the girl and the guy.
Yeah. Well, I think I know who the girl was. But,
I'm sure you do.
yeah, I do.
But you'll be surprised who the guy is.
Oh, okay. See, with me, I had a very tough time, throughout school into middle school, and then I kind of took a stand and ended up getting into a fight, and that's kind of when the bullying stopped, which was a good thing. Um,
The reason I got bullied is because my mom told me that when somebody said something to go, well, la dee da.
yeah,
And I did one time.
yeah,
That's why I got bullied at school.
yeah. It's so ridiculous, but yeah, I think we're all adults now. Where, the people that are mature, that definitely matured, aren't like this anymore. But I mean, Budnick had his moments, and so did Donkey Lips, where they were actually, decent people. They weren't like they're more like anti-heroes,
So
actually.
not everybody.
Yeah,
It just needs to have something to bring out.
exactly. So their first assignment is to steal something from the girls' cabin. So they ended up taking the diary that belonged to Zizi,
Yep.
the makeup that belonged to Dina. Of course, Dina had the makeup because she's rich and very vain and everything.
And the glasses.
Tully's glasses, yep. And then so the girls find out because people are spreading rumors, and then they end up setting up the cabin with some booby traps. Um, but I remember, I'll get to it, but I always thought it was funny about like what ends up happening to Ugg like later on.
Yeah.
That was always pretty funny. So Michael and Sponge go into the girls' cabin and they get the items. And Michael does try to steal Telly's baseball glove first, and it sets off a Polaroid, which gets Ugg's attention as he's, doing his night watch.
Yeah.
Um, and then, as Michael and Sponge are almost done, Og opens the door and sets up all the traps, and he ends up
Hey,
getting putting through all of them because, of course, he wants to pocket that dollar
and
bill.
Budnick made the joke, go pluck yourself.
Yeah, which was so good. Yeah, it was always interesting because I mean, it was like there were eggs, chili, shaving cream, sour milk, sour cream, feathers, tripwire. Um, yeah, there was all sorts of stuff. And he ends up getting thrown through the cabin door, which I thought
Yeah.
was pretty funny.
After getting tarred and feathered.
Yeah, exactly. But then as they try to leave, Michael drops Telly's glasses on the way back to the cabin and accidentally breaks them as well because he tries to search for them and then you just hear him look around and then just stops and crunches them.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, but they try to look for him even after they look through all the items. Um, and then the next morning, the girls decide to confront the boys about all the missing stuff.
Yep.
And Budnick claims that he recovered them and tries to pin the theft on,
Some young kid.
yeah, that random kid. And then there's the time where, of course, it's awful waffle time,
Yeah, the awful waffle.
And it's so interesting. I really wonder what in the hell is an awful waffle.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, they're just like they're holding him down on a table. They have his shirt pulled up to his
He had
stomach.
like syrup.
Yeah, and they had the syrup and they were just shoving it into his face. And I always wondered, like, and nobody knows really what a awful waffle is. Like, I always thought, like, was it going to be like, were they just going to like pour the syrup like on the kid's stomach or something? And like Donkey Lips was gonna like, I always thought like Donkey Lips was gonna try to blow raspberries on his stomach
Yeah.
with the maple syrup because I don't know. It's always interesting to find
We
out
never
what
saw
that
it
is.
though.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone knows what it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure only the creator, Steve Slapkin, knows what it is, but. I don't think he's told
I'm
it.
sure there's something on Google about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they said like in Slimed and also um, in the Orange Years that they never reveal what an awful waffle is, which, is, I get it, but it's just always,
Because if you notice, they whispered it to Michael.
yeah. And then he's like, oh no. But what ends up happening is Michael takes responsibility for everything, and that, of course, it gets the girls pretty, pissed off, because they thought Michael was different and that he wasn't like Budnick or Donkey Lips.
But eventually,
Hmm.
towards the end of the episode,
Hmm.
he's got the hots for.
Yeah,
You can tell.
yeah, exactly. And they get a little bit of revenge. And Sponge squirts ketchup on Budnick and Donkey
Yeah,
Lips, um, which I always thought was pretty funny. Like that took
roasted,
a lot of
toasted, and burnt
courage.
to a crisp.
Yeah, it's like you gotta catch me first. Uh, but everything ended up turning out okay because Telly ended up getting contacts and got his stereo back from Budnick, and that she forgave him because he did the right thing by taking responsibility.
Right.
And then they
And
ended
they've
up,
got the hots for each other anyway.
yeah.
So,
Hmm. And then what ends up happening is the girls decide to TP the boys' cabin as payback for stealing from the bunk.
yep.
Um, yeah, so that is Michael Comes to Camp, that episode. These episodes are like very, very short. I mean, they're only like, what, a half an hour, maybe. I think with commercials, it's probably like 23 minutes, I
25
think.
minutes or so.
Yeah, 25 or 23, I think. Um, it just 22 to 24 minutes per episode.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's always interesting how these shows ended up working out. Um, but yeah, that was Michael Comes to Camp. So a little bit more trivia about Salute Your Shorts in general. Steve Slavkin was hired by Nickelodeon to write a television pilot based on that book, Salute Your Shorts Life at Summer Camp. We did end up finding out, and I told Chris about this, and we haven't watched it yet, but I think I want to, where they filmed a pilot called Welcome to Bunk 13, and it aired as a special, I guess, on Nickelodeon like a year before this, before 91. And they ended up recasting like everybody. And then they ended up starting going to there. Um, but yeah, they filmed it in 1990. Nickelodeon wanted to create original programming that can compete with the Disney Afternoon, like DuckTales and
Yeah.
Darkwing Duck and Tailspin. Um, they
I'll
also,
show all the other shows that I watched.
yeah, they didn't want to just be known as the game shows that they had on there.
Fraggle Rock,
Down Frag Rock, do do.
another Jim Henson show.
Yep. But yeah, there were a couple of other people that were in uh let's see here. Trying to see here on there. Yep, they ended up filming the pilot with some of the original cast, but then they ended up changing it when it got picked up for a series. And the only people that stayed on the cast were Danny Cooksey, who played Budnick, Michael Bauer, who played Donkey Lips, and Kirk Bailey, rest in peace, who played Ugg. Filming of the first season in initial order, 6 episodes took place in April and May 1991. Their budget was 180 grand per episode, which was considered low budget, which is
Yep.
crazy to think about, especially for Nickelodeon. Um, Interiors for the show were filmed inside a soundstage. Interesting. And the exteriors were filmed at Franklin Canyon Park and the Griffith Park Boys Camp. Some exterior shots of the bunks were done using 3 foot high miniatures. Um, the show's music was composed by Ed Elton, who had previously composed the music for Head of the Class. The opening theme song was a mock Camp Anawana alma mater composed by Alton with lyrics by Steve Slavkin. Of course, Camp Anawana will
Yeah.
hold you in our hearts. And when I think about you, it makes me want to fart. So I hope we never part nor get a ride or pay the price. My dad always used to say that. He was like, "As I hope we never part, get it right or pay the price." He would always yell it, which I always thought was pretty funny. Um, the first season premiered with a special primetime broadcast on the 4th of July, 1991, with new episodes airing Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. thereafter Eastern Standard Time.
Never a Snick show.
Huh?
Never a Snick.
No, never a Snick show. Yeah, this actually ended. The show ended maybe a month after Snick started. 'Cause Snick started in August '92. The show ended in September of '92. Um, also, I just saw that I believe yesterday was the 35th anniversary of the Nicktoons.
Yes,
Yeah, the first three Nicktoons, which I
yes,
thought
that
was
is
pretty
true.
cool. Yeah.
Was it
Um,
Rugrats,
Doug
Doug,
and Ren Stimpy.
and Mississippi, right?
Hmm. And they had different things. I remember me and you have watched this episode before, but they had an episode where Danny Cooksey and Michael Bauer played against Heidi Lucas and Megan Berwick, Dina and Zizi on Nick Arcade. I
Yeah,
remember we watched that
we
episode.
talked about that.
Hmm. Yeah, and that was pretty cool. Eric MacArthur, who played Michael, left the show just before the second season started filming. So his character Michael was written out, and then they had Blake Soper, who was also well known. He was on Boy Meets World, and also ended up being in oh my God, Rilo Kiley? No, I think that's the band name with Jenny Lewis. I'm pretty sure that Blake Sennett, sorry, Blake Soper and Blake Sennett, ended up being ended up joining the show as the character of Pinsky. Um, yeah, and then Slavkin walked out of filming to protest Nickelodeon denying the deal. The cast raises for potential third and fourth seasons. Nickelodeon was infamous for underpaying its child actors. Um, Ryan Reynolds, when he was on 15, which was their very like sappy soap opera show. Ryan Reynolds was on that as a kid. They only,
I did not know that.
yeah, they only paid him $150 per episode while he was starring in that. Um, Slabkin never returned in the final 2 weeks of second season. Filming were completed without him. The second season premiered with a special primetime broadcast on Friday, June 26, 1992, with new episodes airing Saturdays at 6 p.m. Thereafter. It was not renewed for a third season after the network wanted production moved to Nickelodeon Studios, but most of the cast was unwilling to relocate from Los Angeles to Orlando. I'm not surprised. Nickelodeon was under pressure by parent company Viacom to reduce its budget so that MTV could fund production of Beavis and Butthead. Totally get that. But yeah, it's pretty good show. I was nominated for Outstanding Young Ensemble Cast in a television series at 13th Youth and Film Awards in December of 1991. At the 14th Youth and Film Awards on June 16, 1993, several cast members were honored. Heidi Lucas won Best Young Actress co-starring in the cable series, beating fellow cast members Megan Berwick and Venus DeMilo, who were also nominated. Venus DeMilo was Tully. Michael Bauer won Best Young Actor co-starring in a cable series, beating out Trevor Eister, who played Sponge.
Wow.
And then Danny Cooksey was nominated for Best Young Actor starring in a cable series. It was the second highest rated cable television series with children aged 6 to 11 at the start of its second season. Despite being in reruns for 4 years, the show finished as one of the 15 highest rated basic cable series of 1996,
Wow.
which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And then it last aired on Nickelodeon on June 7th, 2004, after winning a fan vote as part of the network's 25th anniversary You Pick
Yeah, I
Live
remember that.
programming. Yep. Um, the Paley Center for Media has preserved the first season episode Sponge Saga and its New York archive. The museum curates select television programming for its artistic achievement, social impact, or historic significance. Um, Following the show's cancellation, NBC offered Steve Slavkin the opportunity to write and produce Running the Halls, which aired as part of their Saturday morning block in '93. Ed Alton composed the show's music. Randall Miller served as the director, and Michael Bauer guest starred in The Big Kiss. Blake Soper wrote and performed the song Spectacular Views, Salute My Shorts with his band Rilo Kiley. Yeah, that's who I thought it was. which was featured as a hidden track in the final release of Takeoffs and Landings in 2001, and Danny Cooksey sang backing vocals on the album. Ryla Kiley was the band with Jenny Lewis.
Yeah,
Jenny Lewis was a kid actor as well. Um, I had brought up that movie The Wizard with Ben Savage, Fred Savage, sorry.
yeah.
Ben Savage was on Boy Meets World, which, you know, Blake said it was so. Yes, it was, yes. Um, yeah, the, they had some other stuff. Danny Cooksey, Michael Bauer, Steve Slavkin, and Venus DeMille were all in the Orange Years. Great documentary. If you're a Nickelodeon fan, highly suggest you watch it. I had you watch it, Chris, and you loved it.
It was very good.
hmm and it looks like they are making a documentary about the series titled Forever on Awana, which is in production and will feature new interviews with the original cast and crew. And they do little reunions here and there. Most recently, Megan Berwick, Michael Bauer, Danny Cooksey, Venus DeMilo, and Heidi Lucas all reunited on the Splat Attack podcast on July 1st of this year for a 35th anniversary celebration of the show. Kirk Bailey, I know, passed away a few years back. Um, and Trevor Eister, from what I've seen, doesn't really talk to the cast that much. I believe he goes by Tim Eister now, and no, he goes by Trevor Eister. He used to be called Tim Eister. Um, but from what I've seen on or in interviews and everything, doesn't seem to be very connected with the cast. I guess there were times where I guess Danny Cooksey had called him like different derogatory names. That's probably not the best thing in the world. Um, but yeah, doesn't really talk to the other cast members, it looks like. Um, Also took a long break from screen acting. He primarily has done short films, small roles in television series and TV films, and starred in his own self-produced docudrama series. He founded the nonprofit organization and then Angels Descended, an empathy-driven micro-volunteering organization which seeks to bridge the empathy deficit. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find other information regarding him. But yeah, it doesn't look like he really does anything to deal with the show. Most of the times, whenever they have reunions, um, it doesn't seem like they really talk that much. Um, Spline Attack is a podcast I definitely got to listen to eventually. Um, right now, you can watch the show on Paramount Plus, which
Plus, yep.
we definitely do. Um, I believe that they don't have. I believe that they don't have like an actual physical media release. Yeah, the complete series has never been released on any form of home media.
No,
Um, I don't know if you can look it up on YouTube. When TV shows on DVD.com shut down their website in May of 2018, Slater Shorts was the number one user voted television show that had yet to see a physical release on DVD or Blu-ray. Tim Eister attempted to work with the rights holder on a DVD release, but it was determined the cost of music licensing and royalty payments to the cast would make such a release unprofitable because apparently they don't think that.
right. Yeah.
It's weird. I feel like a lot of these corporations, they just don't want to pay like the people that work on the show. So like, okay, instead of selling stuff and getting royalties, what we're going to do is we're just going to put it on streaming because streaming's like a little different
Right,
and they're not entitled to royalties with that,
right.
which I think is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, so it looks like there hasn't been like a full um release of the show on there. Um, so Chris, would you rank Slater Shorts in like one of your top um one of your top live action Nickelodeon shows?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I think for me, like it's definitely close. Like in terms of sitcom, it's definitely close to like Pete and Pete for me.
I mean, it's not like in my top,
hmm
top, top,
Yeah,
but it's in there.
yeah. I think for me, like my big three, like my big three, like I'm not even talking about like sketch comedy, because
That's a little different.
all that would overtake a lot of that stuff. For me, I think for the top three live action series for me, would always be Pete and Pete, Salute Your Shorts, My Brother and Me. And it's always interesting because those shows only ran for a couple seasons. I mean, My Brother and Me only ran for one.
See, one of my favorite shows only ran for a couple seasons.
Mhm.
Hey, dude.
Oh yeah, Hey Dude was always, yeah, I always enjoyed Hey Dude as well. But I would put Hey Dude below those. Welcome Freshman, the same thing. I mean, there were other ones, Alex Mack I preferred over Shelby Woo. Um,
Yeah,
mhm. I wasn't a Pleasant Skeeter fan. Uh,
cousin Skater.
yeah, but yeah, for me it would always be Pete and Pete. Um, Sawyer Shorts, My Brother and Me. Um, and of course, if we're gonna go for non-comedies, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Um, so yeah, that's what we got down for Salute Your Shorts. So Chris, what are we doing next?
SummerSlam.
Yep, we are doing our first wrestling review. That'll be interesting. It's crazy. This summer has flown by. It's crazy to think about. Like, I mean, we're already almost halfway through August, and it wouldn't be a true summer without SummerSlam, or as Jeremy Piven would call it, the Summerfest. Um, so we're going to be doing SummerSlam 1992, which took place at Wembley Stadium. It was the first and yeah, first time that
First time they were out of the
they
US.
brought it out of the U.S. to do a
SummerSlam. Wait,
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, and
Because WrestleMania had been in Toronto.
oh yes, and of course after the fact there
Yeah.
would be SummerSlams in Toronto,
Yeah.
most notably SummerSlam 2004. Um, but yeah, some great matches on this one. We have Macho Man Randy Savage defending his WWF title against the Ultimate Warrior. We have, of course, the main event, Bret the Hitman Hart defending his Intercontinental title in the main event against the British Bulldog,
Who was his
Damius.
brother-in-law?
Yes, his brother-in-law. And then there were other ones. You had was the casket match between Undertaker and Kamala on that show,
I think so.
or did they have a different match? Because I remember they've had a casket match. I just don't recall if it was at
I
SummerSlam.
don't remember.
Hmm.
I don't remember
Hmm.
completely.
Yeah.
I think it was
Okay.
SummerSlam, but
And of course, there were some other matches. You have the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, facing Money Incorporated. That's the Million Dollar Man, Teddy DiBiase, and Erwin R. Shyster, Mike Rotunda. And I believe I'm trying to think of like some other matches. Those are like the marquee matches
yeah,
I
those were the
remember from that.
marquee.
I just always remember thinking it was like so different because the filming of stuff outside of the US looked so different back in the day.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
it did.
seeing stuff on TV and sports events outside of the US looked
Yeah,
so
it
different.
really
I think it
did.
was probably because of the different frame rate, which I always thought was interesting. But yeah, we're going to be doing SummerSlam, and then we are going to be doing some other stuff. We are going to be doing another movie review. We are going to be doing, it's going to be back to school time. So we figured we'll do a school movie, and we are going to do one of our favorite high school movies, Chris.
Sorry, what was that?
We're going to be doing one of our favorite high school movies.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing The Breakfast Club. And then we got some other stuff coming up for you guys. We're going to try to get a good amount of stuff in. We're going to try to get a Fresh Prince episode in there. We're not going to tell you what one it is, but yeah, SummerSlam 92, The Breakfast Club, and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air all coming up within the next month right
Yes.
here on the Nostalgia Nuts podcast. So, guys, we're going to let you guys go. And before we do, I just wanted to go over some things we posted on the Facebook recently that we're going to be doing regular daily posts starting in the upcoming week. Mondays. is going to be Monday Night War Mondays, where we post about something that happened between the war of WWF's, back then WWF's Monday Night Raw, and WCW's Monday Nitro. Tuesday is going to be Physical Media Release Tuesdays, where we talk about a video album or video game release. Because Tuesday was always the traditional day when that stuff used to be released back then. I believe I said on Wednesdays. Wednesdays is going to be about toys, I believe. Let me actually see if I put that on there. I believe that's what I ended up saying on there, for our post on Wednesdays. Um, yeah, Wednesday is going to be Sports Wednesday, actually. Sports Wednesday, we will be showcasing a memorable sports highlight. Um, Thursdays will be Toy Thursdays. Will be all about our favorite toys from our youth. And then finally, Friday will be movie release.
Those are always released on
Yeah,
Fridays.
where we talk about a movie that was released on that specific day. Um, of course, you guys can check us out on YouTube, the Nostalgia Nuts podcast, where you can find all your different podcasts: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Podbean, all that good stuff. Also, Facebook, the Nostalgia Nuts podcast. You can find us on X at Nostalgia Nuts 90. And if you guys have anything that you want to talk about, if you guys have any messages you want to leave us, feel free to send us an email at nostalgianutspodcast@gmail.com. So, my name is Lance,
My name is Chris.
and this has been the Nostalgia Nuts podcast. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, guys.